Welcome back to the channel. So hopefully you can hear me. Today we are going to do fly above a road. Now there's often lots of questions come up, can I fly over a road, all this kind of stuff, and watch the video and we'll go through it. I drive past this location every day pretty much, and there's an amazing avenue of liquid amber maples on either side of the road. They were planted for the Canadian servicemen to commemorate them for World War I and World War II. There were lots of Canadians stationed in the area, and these were to commemorate them. So I generally don't fly above roads, and certainly this is probably the busiest road I've flown over. But this picture it was there to be taken, and nobody's ever taken this picture before, and I really wanted to have a go at it. So I've been thinking for a little while how I could do it safely, and finally I've got the solution. As it turned out, one of these pictures was printed in a national newspaper, and if you want to know how that happened, this video isn't about that, but maybe subscribe and that'll be what the next video is about. This video is filmed in October 2022, and I followed the rules and regulations at this date. If you want to learn more about the rules and regulations, then please check out the CAP 722. I'll put a link in the description for that, and this information is all based around the CAP 722 and CAP 393, which is the Air Navigation Order. There are a few ways to fly over roads, and I'll go through a few of those different ways how you can do this. In essence, we need to think about cars as uninvolved people, because even though people are in a car, it doesn't really provide enough of protection from the drone. You might get an open top car come down, so we need to think about cars as uninvolved people. And if you can imagine the energy, the combined energy of the drone hitting a vehicle or landing in someone's face when they're doing 70 miles an hour, that obviously would be a very catastrophic accident. With just a flyer ID and your operator ID, well, you can technically fly over a road, although that road would have to be deserted with no cars on it. So that's the only time you can fly over a road in that instance. So that might be a country lane where there's no cars or something like that. With the A2 CFC, in essence, you're in the same position as you would be in the A3 category. You can't fly over a road when there's an uninvolved person on it or when there's a car on it. You could, of course, fly when there's nobody on that road. And certainly you couldn't fly above a busy road with the A2 CFC like I'm about to do in this video. With the GVC and the operational authorization, you can fly above uninvolved people within a 50-meter bubble. But when you're flying above people, what I really learned on that course is really you need to be very careful. Even though you can do it, doesn't necessarily mean that you should do it. Certainly you'd want to be careful flying above a road where the potential for a serious accident actually is there. So you'd want to mitigate the risks of doing that. Now, if you've got the GVC with operational authorization, you'd know how to do that. And I'm not going to go into those details. You could do this in a recreational way using the Article 16. Now, Article 16 is just for recreational flyers. So if you intend to sell this footage, if you intend to get paid for it, then you couldn't do it in this way. So under Article 16, you need to fly from a predominantly recreational area like a playing field, something like that. You need to do a risk assessment from that field. You need to follow the Article 16 rules. So I'll put a link in the description to those, but in many cases you wouldn't be able to fly close enough, or you wouldn't be able to get the right location to fly from to do this. And obviously you can't do this commercially under Article 16. So I use the sub 250 gram drone, a Mini 3, and because it's such a busy road, I've chosen to fly really when it's not so busy. So a Saturday evening, when it's not so busy, I obviously don't want to spend a long time over the road as well. I'd rather not be flying over the road. So I'll try and fly above the central reservation, or I'll try and fly, limit the time over the road. Even with the Mini 3 that has no separation distance, you still need to be mindful of the Air Navigation Order, specifically Article 241. What this states is: a person must not recklessly or negligently cause or permit an aircraft to endanger any person or property. I take this to mean that you shouldn't fly your drone at such a height that it'll distract anybody driving on the road, or possibly cause a collision by flying it so low. So for this flight, I made sure I was well above the eye line of cars. The minimum height I flew, I think, was about 50 meters, which to me was a sensible height to fly at, so I was well out of the range of the cars and people. This should really be common sense, but as I sometimes realise, sense isn't that common these days. Obviously, we should also fly following the rest of the drone code, specifically visual line of sight. I'm going to make sure I keep my eyes on the drone at all times. And actually I had Jane with me, who also was spotting for me. So when I was actually looking at the screen, she could spot the drone and tell me if there was a problem or tell me if it's about to go out of eyesight. I'm flying from a side road where there's a place to pull in where I can park and I can fly the drone without causing anybody any distractions. Because it's a very quiet road, I don't feel I need to mitigate the risk of people approaching. So I'm going to gain altitude before I cross the road. I'm going to go up to about 50 meters. So this flight actually went really well. I've been looking at this for ages. I'm glad I finally did it. And it turns out that I've got some really nice pictures I'll show you now. Like I said earlier, one of these actually kind of was really popular. I didn't particularly like the photograph when I initially saw it. It wasn't what I wanted, but it seems that I'm not the best judge because a lot of other people did like the picture. So there are some resources in the description so that you can go and check this out further if you want to know more information about this and more information on the rules and the regulations. So tell me, have you flown above a road before, and what sort of pictures did you get? Or what was the purpose of the flight? Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed it, there's a thumbs up button there to click. There's a subscribe button if you want to learn more about this sort of stuff. So I like to help you out with rules and regulations and how we can do things safely and fly our drones in more places than what we'd normally get a chance to. So please hit the subscribe button. And like I said earlier, have you flown above a road? Is there a particular road you want to fly above? Let me know in the comments section. Thank you very much, and the next video will be about the picture and how it went viral and how it got published in a national paper. And you might want to subscribe for that to find out how. And I'm going to leave you with some of the pictures and some of the images that I shot on that night. Thanks for watching.